This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology, the images are for illustration purposes only. A moment later, Yunxiao retracted his gaze and slowly closed his eyes. Clearly, he had consumed a lot of soul power. After a while, his soul power had recovered to its peak. He opened his eyes and said, although the colorful ice completely destroyed his body, it formed a beautiful ice flower and trapped the soul of the gourd little King Kong in his heart. It has not died yet. That means there's still hope, the demonic dragon was overjoyed. In theory, yes, Yunxiao said in a deep voice. But, how are you going to break the ice flower and release your soul? Its most important part, its heart, is also well preserved, but it's completely still, as if time has stopped. At least this is a blessing in disguise, the demon dragon sighed. There's always a way to survive. It's a mystery, Yunxiao said. Moreover, the structure of all living things in this body has been directly destroyed. I don't know if the calabash little King Kong can recover with its healing properties. Unless it can step into the 9th step of the Great Emperor realm and activate the power of laws, it can't possibly repair itself. We don't know if Xiaohong is dead or alive. How am I supposed to explain this to Han Xian? Now that the Agarine has undergone such a great change, I wonder what kind of expression Kiyue will have when she finds out. After he finished speaking, he left the Divine Realm tablet and returned to the secret room. It was dawn, and Yunxiao walked out of the secret chamber. The matter of the Chamber of Commerce was not yet settled, and there would inevitably be a series of backlash and resistance. He planned to leave Haitian Town after everything was settled and make a trip to the Sea of Soul Formation before the opening of the world. Young master, you've come out. A maidservant was waiting outside the door. When she saw Yunxiao come out, she immediately sent a talisman to the jade pendant in her hand and sent out the message. Soon, Han Xian, Jiang Qianrong, and the others arrived in the blink of an eye. The desolation on their faces had long since disappeared. They smiled and said, I've been waiting for you for a long time, young Master Yun. Yunxiao nodded and said, I'll go to the City Lord Mansion with Han Xian, and those Chamber of Commerces might gather to counterattack. Han Xian looked at the secret room in surprise and said, Where's Little Red? An embarrassed look appeared on Yunxiao's face. This was a question that could not be avoided. Fortunately, he had already thought of how to answer it. She's in a very strange state now. Although she seems to have disappeared, she's actually still here. Everyone was stunned, not understanding what he meant. Jiang Qianrong revealed a worried expression and said, Is she safe now? Yunxiao was silent for a moment, but he still told the truth, I don't know. This buy-in. Jiang Qianrong hurried into the secret room, but there was no one there. Her face turned pale. She was the one who had brought Xiaohong back. Although Xiaohong was a little clumsy, she was innocent and cute. She treated Jiang Qianrong like her own little sister. Now, it seemed that Xiaohong was not in good shape. Even though she knew Yunxiao's identity, Jiang Qianrong still could not help but burn with anger. May I ask young Master Yun, what's wrong with Xiaohong? How could she provoke you to personally investigate her? Now, we don't know if she's dead or alive. I'm sorry, Yunxiao said with an ashamed look on his face. It's my negligence, but I'll do my best to bring that little girl back. Jiang Qianrong was stunned for a moment, then fell silent. She had always been concerned about Yunxiao, which was why she had contradicted him. She would not have dared to do that under normal circumstances, but she did not expect him to apologize to her, which made her a little bewildered. In the realm of heavenly martial arts, it was said that those super experts could easily slaughter cities and exterminate families. Every time they made a move, it was easy to kill thousands of mortals. It was not an exaggeration to say that mortals were like ants and grass. Although Xiaohong was adopted by her, she was just an ordinary little girl. Her clumsy intelligence might not even be considered ordinary. Even if hundreds of millions of such mortals died, it would not make a super expert frown at all. But at this moment, it made Yunxiao feel very guilty and even apologized in a low voice, which made Jiang Qianrong feel a little uneasy. Han Xian said, since things have come to this, there's no use blaming. Besides, I believe that young Master Yun didn't do it on purpose, and I'm sure he'll do his best to save you. Although she did not know the inside story, she believed and obeyed Yun Xiao unconditionally. It's getting late, I'm afraid Liao Yongbing is getting impatient. The carriages of the Purple Cloud Trade Union were already prepared, and the group of people headed towards the city lord's mansion. There were few pedestrians on the road, and many shops were half closed. From time to time, people peeked at the vehicles of the Purple Cloud Trade Union and exchanged information with each other. Naturally, Yun Xiao could not hide this from his divine sense. But there were no experts in the entire Haitian town, so he did not need to be afraid of anything. Even if the merchant union did send experts, they would not be able to do anything to him unless they were high-level martial sovereigns. The crowd soon arrived at the city lord's mansion. There were many carriages parked outside. It seemed that the Chamber of Commerce had arrived long ago. Don't worry, everyone. Now that I know everything, I will not allow the Purple Cloud Trade Association to mess around. Although I am not from the Merchant Union, I am the Lord of Haitian Town. I will not allow anything to disrupt the normal trade of Haitian Town. In the city lord's mansion, on the main seat, Liao Yangbing snorted coldly, I can't tolerate people scheming against each other. This time, even Master Sidun died an innocent death. Although Thunderwind Chamber of Commerce has done something wrong, it shouldn't be removed from the list. That's right. The Purple Cloud Trade Association is the main culprit. An old man was lying on his back in a wheelchair, complaining angrily. He was the president of the Money Chamber of Commerce, who had been sent flying by Yun Xiao with a palm strike. Judging from his appearance, he seemed to be seriously injured. The president of Tianyuan Trading Company, Zhu Anren, sneered. I also feel that the Purple Cloud Trade Union's matter is slightly inappropriate. But we all know who the main culprit is. The Thunderwind Chamber of Commerce has been completely removed from Haitian Town. Who would believe that you can talk nonsense about all causes and effects? The president of the Money Chamber of Commerce snorted coldly, as if he could not wait for the Purple Cloud Chamber of Commerce to die. Yeah, who would believe that? We don't believe it. The crowd clamored. Although they had seen it with their own eyes the day before, the Purple Cloud Trade Union had already provoked public anger. Everyone had a tacit understanding to fight against it. Zhu Anren's face was full of worry. He knew that the Purple Cloud Trade Union had gone too far this time. Yesterday, he had personally come to communicate with Han Xian, but she had turned a deaf ear to him. If he was not careful now, he might invite a disaster. A young man sitting on the first seat smiled and said, however, I heard that the powerhouse of the Purple Cloud Chamber of Commerce could defeat 3 famous martial sovereigns at the same time. This is a little tricky. As far as I know, the Purple Cloud Chamber of Commerce has never had such a strong powerhouse. I don't know about this person's background and strength. Have you found out anything? What famous martial sovereign? Young Master Lifeng, don't be misled. Liao Yongbing laughed. Although the 3 of them were martial sovereigns a long time ago, they've made little progress in the past few decades of cultivation. I've been paying close attention to them. They're just 3 2-star martial sovereigns with extremely poor aptitudes. As for their combat strength, it's greatly reduced. Originally, I wanted to bring the 3 of them in today's matter, but I didn't expect their strength to be so weak. It seems there's no need for that. The young man was none other than Baiming Lifeng. He furrowed his brows slightly and said, how is it possible for a young man to defeat 3 2-star martial sovereigns with one move? I know most of the outstanding people in the younger generation, but I've never heard of such an expert. Could he be a disciple of a hidden family? Liao Yongbing laughed and said, young Master Wind, you're overthinking. How can he be a teenager? He must have a technique to maintain his youthful appearance or a magic treasure on him to be able to show his youthful appearance. From everyone's discussion, this person was at most a 3-star martial sovereign. If he understands the situation, we can consider roping him in. What is the matter that the city lord has been talking about when he summoned everyone here? Zhu Anren asked. Everyone also looked over. Although Liao Yongbing was the lord of Haitian Town, he rarely spoke to the Chamber of Commerce. As long as the Chamber of Commerce paid the protection fee every month, they would not see him once a year. It's great news, Liao Yangbing said with a smile. However, let's take things one step at a time. Let's settle the Purple Cloud Trade Union first. Liao Yangbing smiled but didn't say anything, but he felt very comfortable inside. The Purple Cloud Trade Union had done him a great favor by causing trouble at this time. Strictly speaking, he had something to ask the Chamber of Commerce for help, and now he had a huge favor in front of him. As long as he settled the matter with the Purple Cloud Chamber of Commerce, the people of the Merchant Union would feel embarrassed to not help him. The Purple Cloud Trade Union is here. Someone suddenly shouted, and the atmosphere in the hall suddenly became solemn. Everyone's eyes were wide with anger, and a sharp killing intent was released from their bodies. They were ready to meet the enemy in an aggressive manner. Yunxiao and the others could feel the solemn atmosphere even when they were outside. Be careful, everyone. Elder Wu said in a deep voice. I'm afraid that this meeting won't be simple. Yunxiao did not take it seriously. As he walked in, he laughed loudly and said, there are many bastards in Qiqian, but no matter how many there are, they are still just bastards. A clear voice entered everyone's ears, and their faces turned green with anger. Each of them cursed angrily. Liao Yangbing's face changed drastically, and his eyes turned cold. He had the intention to recruit them, but now his eyes were full of killing intent and anger. Baiming Lifeng's heart trembled violently. That familiar voice, that familiar arrogance. When he raised his head, he suddenly saw a familiar face that he wanted to step on. He exclaimed in shock, Li Yunxiao. These three words seemed to have some kind of magical power, instantly intimidating all the killing intent in the area. All the low growling and cursing stopped, and it became silent. Isn't this the head of the four greats of the western regions, Baiming Lifeng? Yunxiao was also surprised when he saw Baiming Lifeng. What? What did young Master Lifeng call this person just now? I didn't hear wrong, did I? Is he shouting Lu Yunxiao or Li Yexiao? Li Yunxiao. The number one rising star? The one who was praised by the city lord of Red Moon City as the future number one in the realm of heavenly martial arts? Oh my god. He's Li Yunxiao? Everyone was shocked, and their faces turned pale. Even the people from the Purple Cloud Chamber of Commerce, except Jiang Qianrong, including Elder Wu, were stunned. The president's face instantly turned as dark as a pig's liver, and his body began to tremble. The demonic young man was the world-famous Li Yunxiao. Liao Yangbing was also stunned for a moment before he came back to his senses. He turned to look at Baiming Lifeng, and saw the shock and bitterness on his face. He immediately confirmed the identity of the person in front of him, and he was a little stunned. It seemed that all the countermeasures he had thought of earlier were useless. Baiming Lifeng smiled bitterly and said, what a small world. Brother Yunxiao, aren't you still recuperating in the Red Moon City? Why did you come to Haitian Town? Yunxiao snorted and said with a cold smile, I've already told you that I have no friendship with your Baiming family, and sooner or later, there will be enmity between us. Please don't try to get close to me. He didn't hold back at all in rebuking Baiming Lifeng's words, immediately causing everyone to feel dizzy. It had always been others who tried to get close to the Baiming family. When had the Baiming family ever tried to get close to others? However, as the number one person, he had the right to say such words. It was just that he was too arrogant. Baiming Lifeng was also puzzled. This Yunxiao had disliked him since the first time they met, as if he had a natural hatred for Baiming Dark Palace. I heard that young Master Yunxiao's Dantian was accidentally destroyed in the battle with the Sea Tribe's king, and his martial arts foundation was completely destroyed. Why didn't you try to make up for it? Instead, you came to this seaside city. Could it be that you can't make up for it, so you're here to relax? What? Destroying the Dantian and ruining the foundation of martial arts? Everyone was also shocked. Although some people had heard similar rumors, they didn't take it to heart at all. Most of the rumors were false. But now that it had come from Baiming Lifeng's mouth, it was a completely different matter. It was much more reliable. Han Xian also cried out in surprise and covered her mouth with her hand. Her face turned pale instantly, and she felt an invisible force pressing on her chest. She swayed a little, and even her breathing was difficult. She did not dare and did not want to believe it, so she raised her trembling eyes and looked at Yun Xiao. Bai Ming Lifeng's eyes were filled with gloating as he chuckled. You must be the president of the Purple Cloud Trade Union. I thought you had found a strong backer, but you turned out to be a half-disabled person, right? Yun Xiao turned his eyes and saw a look of relief in the shocked eyes of the people in the hall. He smiled coldly and said, Young Master Lifeng is right. My Dantian is damaged, and my martial arts foundation is destroyed. That's why I'm injured. His voice suddenly turned cold, like the cold wind from the 9 netherworlds. He said coldly, that's why I'm so desperate now. I'll kill the entire family of anyone I don't like. Just as everyone let out a breath of relief, they were immediately shocked by these words filled with killing intent. Their hearts were all beating violently, and their faces were pale. Cold sweat broke out on their foreheads, thinking that they had indeed met a madman. He was the #1 rising star with unparalleled talent in the world. No one could stand the fact that his martial arts foundation had been destroyed and his cultivation base could no longer be improved. It was normal for him to do a series of crazy things. Whoever dared to touch his eyebrows again would be courting death. At the thought of this, everyone lowered their heads, and no one dared to meet his gaze. The president of the Gold and Money Chamber of Commerce was trembling non-stop. He buried his head in his collar and didn't dare to stick it out. Bai Ming Lifeng stared blankly for a moment. He was also shocked by the killing intent on this man's body, but when he realized that this man's strength would remain the same for the rest of his life, there was nothing to be afraid of. He couldn't help but sneer, Young Master Yun Xiao, you're so impressive. You're still so domineering even when your future is completely ruined. I'm impressed. Humph. Yun Xiao snorted as he took a step forward and said in a cold voice, I'm sure I'll be happy to have Bai Ming Dark Palace's most promising junior as my scapegoat. The aura on his body condensed and turned into a strong wind that directly broke through. Bai Ming Lifeng was shocked. He knew how strong Yun Xiao was, and he could not resist him at all. So, he hurriedly retreated. At this moment, the 2 guards of Bai Ming Dark Palace who had come with him suddenly shouted and took a step forward. Their emperor chi surged out of their bodies and blocked Yun Xiao's aura. The force shook the entire hall, and a buzzing sound rang out. The faces of the presidents of the chambers of commerce turned pale, and their chi and blood were in turmoil. Li Yunqiao, one of them said coldly, we respect you as a hero who has brought honor to our race in Red Moon City. But to put it bluntly, you're just mediocre. If you dare to disrespect young master, even a hero will have to kneel down. Both of them were 4-star martial sovereigns, and they had witnessed the battle in Red Moon City. But, they knew that Yunqiao's peak combat strength was at most on par with theirs, not to mention that his dantian was damaged, which could not be healed so easily. Moreover, there were 2 of them, so they naturally had nothing to fear. Yunqiao was not afraid of anything. With the strength of the 2 men, Mo Xiaochuan alone was enough to deal with them. Even if Liao Yongbing were to interfere, he was confident that he would be able to suppress him. Both sides had a fearless look on their faces, unwilling to back down. The atmosphere in the hall suddenly became unusually tense and oppressive. The presidents of the chambers of commerce were all terrified, afraid that these people would fight and they would be the fish in the pond. Liao Yongbing suddenly thought of something, and a smile appeared on his face. He suddenly laughed and said, Both of you are rare heroes in the world. It's my great fortune to be able to see it today. I've called everyone here today because I have something I need your help with. Please don't hurt our relationship. Since City Lord Liao has spoken, we have to give him some face, the guard said coldly. However, if anyone dares to speak without thinking, don't blame us for crushing the younger generation. The 2 guards had cold and arrogant looks on their faces as they retreated. Only then did Bai Ming Lifeng dare to step forward again. Yunqiao waved his hand and said, let's put this matter aside for the time being. I also want to hear what the city lord has to say. But, he pointed at the guard and said coldly, don't leave, I'm going to hit you. This. Everyone's face was filled with black lines, feeling a burst of madness. How was this a conversation between experts? This was simply a local ruffian. The guard was also stunned for a moment. He couldn't help but laugh. Good, good. I'll meet this junior of yours later, the so-called #1 rising star. His eyes flashed with a cold light and killing intent. Liao Yangbing was also sweating profusely, and he shook his head slightly, thinking that Yun Xiao had probably given up on himself because his dantian had really been destroyed. Even Han Xian began to have the same thought, and her heart ached. She suddenly remembered that Yun Xiao had come to Haitian Town for the moon pearl of the Eastern Sea. Could it be that the pearl could cure the injury in his dantian? When he thought of this, he felt a little better in his heart. When he returned, he would pass down the order that the search for the bead was the top priority. But who could know what Yun Xiao was thinking at the moment? As his strength gradually approached that of a martial sovereign, his desire to recover his strength became stronger and stronger, and the attitude of a peak expert was gradually revealed. He pursued the pleasure of an eagle soaring in the sky and a fish soaring in the shallow bottom. These people in front of him were just ants passing by. In addition, he had always had a grudge against Baiming Dark Palace, so his attitude was naturally not good. Liao Yangbing let out a sigh of relief and glanced around the hall. He had forgotten all the methods he had prepared to deal with the Purple Cloud Trade Union. I've summoned all of you here to discuss something with you. All of you can be considered as the elders of Haitian Town. Have you heard of the royal family of the East Sea? Everyone's expression changed drastically. Could it be that today's incident was related to the royal family of the East Sea? Yun Xiao's expression was stern. He was no stranger to the East Sea, and no one present knew it better than him. He had killed many people from the royal family of the East Sea. Liao Yangbing looked at Yun Xiao and said, "Young Master Yun Xiao, you've just fought with the royal family of the North Sea, so you should know that they are extraordinary. Compared to us humans, the sea race has too much of an advantage in talent and resources. It's not easy for young Master Yun Xiao to defeat the North Sea's royal family at such a young age." His tone was filled with sincere admiration as he continued, "The heavenly martial arts realm has been changing for countless years, and the resources available for cultivation on the continent have been getting fewer and fewer. Even the smallest spiritual mountains and treasured lands have been fought for. Over the years, the places with the least change have been the 4 seas, which also contain amazing cultivation resources. Everyone here should know about this." "Indeed," Zhu Anren said. "I've been in Haitian Town for more than 50 years, and I'm very shocked by the resources near the East Sea. God knows what it's like to be in the deeper parts of the sea. However, the sea race's people are powerful. Lord Liao, you're not thinking of snatching the Eastern Sea's resources, are you?" Everyone's expression changed drastically. Snatching Eastern Sea's resources was asking for death. Liao Yangbing was also shocked and laughed. "President Zhu, don't joke around. I'm not tired of living. It's fine to sneakily get some, but a snatch is too scary. Due to the sea race's rich resources, many human experts have fled overseas, either establishing their own sects or cultivating on their own to compete with the sea race for resources. All the sects that had survived were extremely powerful. This Liao also has an old friend who lives alone on a deserted island full of spiritual qi, cultivating with great concentration year after year. This good friend is also a guardian of Baiming Dark Palace, and his name is Baiming Tianlu." Everyone listened in silence, knowing that what was to be said next would definitely be related to Baiming Tianlu. As expected, Liao Yangbing sighed, "Brother Tianlu has been overseas for several decades, and there has been no news of him. I thought he had already lost his life in the sea. I didn't expect that a message would be sent out not long ago."